Welcome back. You're watching Nation Tonight. It's been called a massive international human trafficking case. It is also being seen as cheating by immigration agents. But so far, there is no clarity on what exactly happened with Indians stuck in Russia amid the war. A few days back, we got the unfortunate news of Hyderabad's Muhammad Afsan and Gujarat's Hemil Mangukia being killed in the Russia-Ukraine war. Videos have emerged on social media where young Indian men from Punjab and Haryana, presently in Russia, are appealing to the Indian government to rescue them. All of this, even when India is not directly involved in this war. Now, some of these men claim that they were forced to sign a contract and now they're not receiving proper medical treatment. They're being made to do heavy work and they're now anxious to come back to India. While the External Affairs Ministry has assured that they are taking up these cases with Russian authorities, these men claim that they have been duped by agents who offered them jobs as helpers in the Russian army, or they went on tourist visas to neighboring Belarus and were forced to fight for Russia. So what is the truth? And if they have been genuinely duped, how did it happen? And what exactly must they be going through in the battlefield? Let's deep dive into this and understand what exactly the situation is. On the broadcast, I'm joined by Colonel Dinny, he's a defense expert. I'm also joined by Manju Sharma, Senior University Guidance Counsellor at the B.D. Somani International School. Good evening, namaskar to both of you. Welcome to Mirror Now. Let me start with you, Manju Sharma ji. There are several reasons that have been attributed to the reason why, the situation that Indians are there in. One of them is the fact that they have been duped by agents. They were offered jobs, jobs that offered them good money. But when they reached there, that was not the case. They were forced to fight for the Russian army. Have you seen such cases as well? And how much of it is genuine and how much of it is actually fake?
I would say that both sort of cases are there. And in that case, it is very important that when we are reaching to any agent, first of all, we need to understand whether the agent itself is a fake or is an approved agency by Ministry of External Affairs. They get their license, they get the number, and one should check on the website whether they have that. And if the agent has that license and the number, it would be displayed in their website, and it will be displayed in their offices also. So it is very necessary to check that. And if you receive any email, check the email ID is proper or not. Never go with any WhatsApp messages or any forward messages. And also, if you are paying money, then how much money are you paying? Is it really a money where you think that it is good return on investment? If this is a too much money, if the transaction is in cash, then of course it is actually giving the red flags in the beginning itself. So it is very important that we should check Ministry of Labor and Statistics, Employment Statistics, Labor Bureau. These are very important things to consider before even taking the first step.
And these are perhaps the small things that we miss out on. And there is, of course, one of the names that has been floating around is also of a YouTuber who used to make vlogs and offered that kind of, job and money to the Indians who are there. But that, of course, is for the authorities to probe into. But Colonel Dinny, let me come to you and understand from you what these Indians might be going through there. If we go by their claims, they've been duped. And now they went as helpers in the Russian army. First, help us understand what would that mean. And then they were forced into a battlefield on behalf of a country they're not even citizens of.
Ma'am, first of all, the fact that they have been hired for so-called army helpers. So the thing which they were told was they were not supposed to go into combat, but they were supposed to do some ordinary jobs. For example, clearing a building which has been demolished, or to look after the armory, or to give some logistics support in the same form of some rations being carried and such like things. So it was basically in support of the combat operations. That was the premise in which most of the people was called for. When they were joining, they knew that they were going into some of them at least knew that they were going into the Russian army. but it was as a support system or as a support staff, not into combat zone. The moment they started training in AK-47 and handling of weapons and ammunition, and once they were pushed into the combat zone, that is the time they realized the enormity of the situation and actually what they were going through. And there, I must say, ma'am, that they would have probably, been under severe physical strain as well as mental strain. The fact is because they are not tuned to be fighting as a trained army soldier, no matter which country. So here, a person goes as part of a job, that too in a totally different country, with absolutely no cultural affinity or cultural similarity. It's a totally different country. The climate is different, and there, then he's sent into the most live combat zone today in the world. So there, he's pushed to it. So I really feel sorry for those people who have been there, and because it's a tough place for ordinary or the standard combat soldiers. And here you have people who have not been trained, people who have no kind of motivation to fight that war, and they do not know how to come back. So I think it's a terrible, terrible situation for those boys who have got stuck there, man.
Manju Sharma, the fact is that these boys, these young men from India are not from one particular state. They hail from, one is from Hyderabad, one is from Gujarat, some are from Punjab, some are from Haryana. Clearly, there's been like a, pan-India problem that exists where Indian men, young Indian men are being duped and taken away into war zones.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like, first of all, like, really, it is a very sad state that our young generation is getting into these things. Maybe they feel that, they can earn good money for themselves and for family. And that's how they feel like, going to other countries, they can do that better, life for themselves and for family. But it happens the other way around, that they get into such a situation where their life is on stake. And I really feel sorry for them, but that's what it is very important, because such agents and such immigration agents are everywhere in our country, because they know that our population is a lot and we have the youth. We are the largest youth population country. And that's how these people feel like if they're not getting the opportunities here, they might get the opportunity in some other country. And our rupee also is very weak comparative to other country currency, and that's how they feel like even if they earn little over there, it will be a lot for their families spending in India. And that's how they get into these things, but they do not know these are innocent people. They are not aware of that, how they should proceed. Actually, they don't know like what sort of visas are requirement, what sort of labor statistics of that country says, whether they will really get the jobs over there or not. So they do not know this, and that's how they give their hard-earned money or their family savings, the entire families. Some of them, like, mortgage their houses, their land, and they feel like they will go over there and they will have other side grass is greener, like they feel. But when they go over there, then life gives them the shock, the big shock of their life. And they then are not in a position, to convey this to their families also, because they feel like, the family will be worried about this. And they just say that, okay, they are fine, they're absolutely fine, but they get into such a situation where they find they're absolutely helpless. They can't do anything. Then they reach out to embassy. I would request such people that why you do not reach out in the beginning, even before going, inquiring this, ask the experts about it, whether this is the really right thing or wrong thing.
Yeah.
Look at their licenses. Don't give your documents to anyone, specifically your passport, because these are important. Get to know those countries, get to know the labor statistics, get to know whether these agencies are really authentic or not, or such jobs are there or not. That will save them
Absolutely.
from the life stress and a lot of things. So proactiveness is the most important thing.
Yeah.
We need to be very proactive. We need to be aware of these things, before taking these steps, because till the time you are in your country, you are absolutely in safe hand. No matter in your country, in whichever state or whichever city you are in, but you are safe because you are first citizen of the country.
Absolutely. There are, important point there, Manju Sharma, the fact that we have to check on minute details. and also the fact that while you're in your country and within your country's boundaries, you are safe. But of course, India has had a successful record of bringing back her nationals as well safely from war zones. But Colonel Dinny, this sort of situation also reflects the fact that Russia is perhaps going through a lot of lethargy in the war, going through setbacks in the war. The fact that you have to force outsiders to fight your war when your own citizens have now started protesting against the war. You have forced the men of your country to be there in the war at the front lines. They are protesting, the women are protesting. Clearly a reflection of what Russia is going through as well.
Oh, absolutely, ma'am. I think you have touched upon a very fascinating aspect of this particular war, which we have seen. Well, earlier, what we used to see was wars being fought between two countries and their own citizens as part of being their soldiers or even supporting their army. That is a kind of war which we have generally seen, or maybe there are alliances in which the country joins that particular war. But here is a case now we see that I think both Russia and Ukraine, for that matter, recruiting troops, ordinary citizens from outside their country to fight their war, and more so by Russia, as you rightly mentioned. And that actually brings out the stark reality of what is happening inside Russia, where they do not have people to fight their own war. They do not have, a cause which is being supported by the majority of the people within Russia. That a war which is prolonged for so long, and they are compelled to recruit people from Asia and also, I believe, from Africa to fight their war. So this is actually a very, very serious issue in which, because there will be people who will be unemployed all over the world. Now, if tomorrow, if a situation like this happens, that wherever there is a war, you're going to recruit people who are unemployed from other countries and fight the war. I think where will it stop? So it's a kind of a very, very delicate and I think a very sensitive issue in which every country need to see whether their citizens are being recruited for such things. I think it should be stopped, because ultimately the price will be paid by these clueless, these innocent civilian people who go there masquerading as combat
Yeah.
soldiers and actually eventually falling in the combat zone and coming back in body bags. It's a very sad state. I think this particular
Yeah.
war
Yeah.
is actually showing up a totally different aspect of a war which you have not seen before, where people from other countries are being recruited and to fight their war.
Yes. Yes, we hope that the Indian government is able to rescue them back to their homeland. But we'll leave it there. Manju Sharma and Colonel Dinny, thank you very much to both of you for sharing your thoughts on Nation Tonight and helping us understand this situation better. Thank you very much.